Welcome to video 4, by name list referral video series. In this video, we're going to focus on completing the member details pages. The first step in completing the member detail pages is the by name list consents. Okay? When working with a client, it's imperative that they read through and understand these pages. What we're going to do is we're going to proceed through all of the questions with the client and appropriately indicate the responses. So we can see here the steps that are involved with this component, completing the member details page. We're at the by name list consents. There's 2 components to this. And then we're going to talk about who we are as a referrer. We're going to capture the member details. We're going to capture their accommodation. We aren't going to worry about this one. We'll talk about that a little later. And then we're going to confirm it. Okay, so when it comes to consents, there's just a couple of things when it comes to consents. There are certain consents we have to say yes to. The by name list primary consent, collection and use, mandatory. Salesforce Tier 1 consent to disclosure is mandatory. So you cannot proceed if the client does not agree to these. Okay, the other consents are optional, and the client can decline. But we encourage staff to explain to clients the huge benefits of these consents for the by name list. It's better that they do consent. So take your time. Take your time to discuss these consents and what they mean to the client. Turn your screen around so they can see these, so they can read it for themselves. Break it down in the layman's terms so they have a better understanding as to what these consents means. Because without these consents, it's difficult to case conference or share client info for vacancies or other resources like the needs-based subsidies programs. So as a client, you don't really get the benefits of being on the by name list if you don't consent. So in this situation, I'm going to scroll down, and as we can see here, by name, I'm just going to click on yes to everything. But there's a lot of information, and the clients need to be aware of all of this. Okay? They have to consent to this one. Here's the second one they have to consent to. Salesforce Tier 1 consent to disclose. So Salesforce is just the term that we use. Salesforce is the platform for which HTI, the technology you're currently using, is based. They need to consent. I hit next. Okay, do they consent email and or text consent? This is very familiar to the one that we created previously. Okay, I'm in this situation, I'm going to say that my client consents to email and text communication by clicking on both, and they consent to the by name coordinated list of the use of personal health information to prioritize housing assistance and supports. Yes, they consent. Do they consent to coordinated access case conferencing? This is what I was talking about. It's difficult to case conference if they say no. So I'm going to say yes. And I hit next. Here we are. Now on the referred details, we've gotten the consents out of the way. Let's talk about you. So in this situation, I am a referrer from the Salvation Army Appeal. Okay, so my name is Bob. Let's make sure I get it capitalized there. And do I have a telephone number? It's a mandatory field. There's a few mandatory fields in here. I'm going to say 416. Okay. Phone extension if I have one. And my email address. Okay, so who is it that is referring this client to the by name list? My name is Bob. I work for Salvation Army. Here's my info. Next. Okay, so member income and details. So when it comes to the member information and member and income details, we want to fill out as much information that we can possibly get. So we need to record personal and demographic information about the client. And once we're finished with any of these pages, we click next. The fields marked with an asterisk are mandatory and must be filled in before proceeding. Questions that have a circle are multi-select, which allows you to select multiple responses for one question. So in this situation, the client I'm referring is one individual. I can type in 1. Does he have any dependent children under the age of 18? I can leave that blank. It's not a mandatory field. Okay, so my member's name once again. Okay, does he have a preferred name? What is his date of birth again? It was 2020, January 1st. No, 2000, January 1st, sorry. Okay, does my client have a phone number? By clicking on phone number, if I says yes, he does, it's 416-222-8888. The system's now going to say, is that a phone? What type of phone is this? It's a cell number. Okay, does Rob have an email? Yes, he does. Not a mandatory field, but we want to capture as much information as possible. Okay, certain mandatory fields here. We speak of gender, we speak of marital status, we speak of sexual orientation. Okay, so this is a conversation you want to have with your client. My client is a man. I can choose more than one because this box here is multiple. Okay, he is a man. His marital status, he is single. His sexual orientation, okay, he wants to prefer not to answer on this one. Okay, we don't have to push an envelope. We just need to say, what is your sexual orientation? His immigration status, he's a Canadian citizen. This is a sunny day scenario, but I can choose. There's a bunch of different options I have here. So choose the appropriate one for the client you are onboarding onto the by name list. In this situation, he's a Canadian citizen. His ethnicity, okay, we can choose more than one. And the first language, you can also choose more than one. Country of birth. Drop down, Canada's right at the top. Does he identify as a person with a disability? Please describe any accommodations. I'm not going to go through all of these. I'm only looking for the ones with the asterisks, but my recommendation is capture as much information as you can for your client. Okay? Is Rob a veteran? He is not. Does he have a current license, current address? He does not. Where can we find you? This is looking at an intersection, an encampment. Okay? So I'm going to say that he's typically hanging out at the Region Appeal office. And the best time of the day. Emergency contact phone. Is there anybody we can get in touch with? Okay. In case we need to contact somebody because of Rob. Scroll down. Is there any further information that's mandatory? Does he have an income source? If Rob is working, if he's collecting Ontario Works, we can add that in here. Scroll down. As we can see, there is Ontario Works right there. Frequency of income, OW is monthly. Does he know how much he receives as a single individual? It'd be $733. We can put that in here. Okay, he has no assets. There's no bank account, and there's no additional household members. If Rob was part of a family, this is where we would capture it. For every individual within his family, we would say yes, and we would add a new member. Rob's partner, Rob's children. In this situation, he's a single individual. No additional household members. Next. Okay. Type of accommodation expense. Okay. This is not mandatory, so I'm going to click on next. And now we get the confirmation. So what we've done here is we have pretty much just created the member details page. We want to click save. You have to click save here or you're going to lose all your progress. The system now says, hey, you've done it successfully. You can resume the save progress anytime from the same place. Okay. In our next video, we're going to talk about the actual needs assessment. So in this one, we've completed the member detail pages. We're moving on to the actual by name list needs assessment. Thank you for watching.